I'm here to teach you Science 1, and today's our interesting topic is reflection of light. Today we are going to cover all the concepts correlating with the examples so that we can understand these concepts and remember them very properly. So let's start. While studying reflection of light, the most important constituent is light before studying reflection. So first we will see what is light. Light is an agent which gives us information about what is happening in our surrounding. We enjoy all the wonders of nature like sunrise, sunset, rainbow, which are basically of different colors only because of light. It is only because of light that we can see lush green vegetation, colorful flowers, deep blue skies in the day, stars shining in the dark, night sky, in the beautiful world around us. Okay, so all these things are visible to us only because of light. So what this light consists of, or what is the nature of the light? So first important nature of the light is a form of energy which enables us to see all the different colors around us. It travels in straight line. It travels at a very high speed, that is 3.0 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second in vacuum. It is emitted by luminous sources such as sun, stars, candles, lamps, etc. So what is light? Light is actually an electromagnetic radiation which causes the sensation of vision. So what is white light? White light is a mixture of 7 different colors, namely red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. We can observe these lights when we pass a white light through the prism. You can observe all these different lights which are the constituent of just a white light. Light is the transverse wave and forms part of electromagnetic spectrum. Sources of light, all objects that we see are all the sources of light, even if they do not produce light themselves. Objects that produce light are said to be luminous. Sun, burning candle, light bulb, flash of lightning. These are all luminous sources of light. Now, what are artificial sources of light? Artificial sources of light are those that are produced and controlled by humans. Car headlights, those are controlled by humans. You have a button, you can control those headlights. Neon signs, flashlights, televisions. Televisions can be on or off by the humans, so they are artificial sources. Man-made sources. Some sources of light, such as burning wood, may be classified as both natural and artificial. So this was all about the light. Now, while coming back through to reflection, we have to see what are mirrors. So we need polished surfaces for reflecting light. This is because polished surfaces absorb less light and so maximum light gets reflected. In scientific language, a surface which reflects light and creates clear images is called a mirror. This is the mirror which we use in our homes every day. Then we have to see these types of mirrors: plane mirrors and spherical mirrors. You can see below the plane mirror, a beautiful diagram is given which gives the precise knowledge of what is plane mirror. This is the mirror which reflects the image as it is. Okay, so you are, when you stand in front of a mirror, you can see your image behind the mirror, which seems like both the image and the reflection are twins. So you are standing in front of the mirror and you can see your twin in the mirror. So your image and you are identical. So what are spherical mirrors? Spherical mirrors are of two types, concave mirrors and convex mirrors. Just see the blue shaded region. That is the difference between the concave mirror and the convex mirror. The reflective surface for the concave mirror is inside the curve. You can see it. And for the convex mirror, the reflecting surface is, you can specify it, it is beyond the curve. For concave mirror, it is inside the curve, and for convex mirror, it is outside the curve. This is the specification of spherical mirrors, differentiation of these concave and convex mirror with the example and the scientific definition which is required to be remembered for this year. The inner surface of a spherical mirror is the reflecting surface, then it is called a concave mirror. You can see the example of a solar furnace which uses concave mirror. Convex mirror, the outer surface of the mirror is the reflecting surface, then it is called as the convex mirror. So best example of convex mirror is the side mirror of the vehicle. You can see the best example, you can observe this in your homes also. The curved surface inside the spoon will be known as the concave, and the outer surface will be the convex. Now these are some examples of convex mirrors and concave mirrors. You can call them lenses also. They are used in, convex mirrors are used in magnifying glasses, microscopes, while concave are used in spy holes in the doors and the flashlights. Remember these examples so that you can be able to differentiate between concave lens and concave lenses. Then here we start with the ray diagram description. First, we are going to see the ray diagrams for a point image. Okay. So we see clear image of ourselves when we stand in front of the mirror in our house. To understand how an image is formed in a mirror, let us first consider an image formed by a point source. Light rays travel in all directions from such a source. Several of these rays fall on the mirror, get reflected and reach our eyes. Due to reflection, they appear to be coming from a point behind the mirror, and that point is the image of the point source. So what this diagram depicts? This diagram depicts that the incident ray and the reflected ray travel along the same path. You can see both the arrows on the single ray itself, and they just create a point source. So we are not getting any of the image behind the mirror. We can just see that the point is there on the mirror itself. Just the formation of the image is to be predicted, which this is the easiest ray diagram. And the second ray diagram which we have, which discusses the formation of a point behind the image. So while writing the description of these ray diagrams, try to write them in points. First, write the description about incident ray. Then in the second point, write the description of reflected rays. And in the third point, you can conclude with the scientific approach which you have learned from this ray diagram. So following this method, first point, incident rays get reflected according to the law of reflection. When these reflected rays are extended behind, you can see the dotted lines which are extended from the point A, B. When these are incident rays falling on the mirror, and then they are extended behind the mirror coming from O. Okay, so thus the point I is the image of the object O. You can see OA and OB are the incident rays which are falling from the object on the mirror, on the plane mirror, and the reflected rays are AX and BY. The reflected rays do not actually meet, hence such an image is called as virtual image. The perpendicular distance of the image from the mirror is equal to the perpendicular distance of the source from the mirror. Then we have to study image of an extended source formed by a mirror. The two diagrams which we studied earlier were just the points, the object was a point source. Now you can see the object which is a whole pen itself. If we use extended source instead of a point source, now this is the extended source, an image formed of every point of the source, thereby forming an extended image of a whole source. Okay, you can see the object and the virtual image, both are same. They have taken 4 points on the object and they have given that the distance of the object to the mirror is same from the image and the mirror. The image formed by the plane mirror of the same size as the source. These were the 3 easy diagrams which were related to the plane mirrors. Then we are going to study the phenomenon of lateral inversion. So how do letters appear in the mirror? You can see the bold letter E. After reflection, lateral inversion takes place, as well as C, N, R. All these letters undergo lateral inversion. The images of the word appear laterally inverted in the mirror, and the image of every point on the word is formed behind the mirror at the same distance from the mirror as the point itself. So we can say that these letters undergo the extended source of image formation. These are the examples of lateral inversion. The word ambulance is never written straight. Okay. The words are written as per the lateral inversion, so that when it appears on the side mirror of a car, they can see the word as it is required. Then we studied plane mirrors and the important topic that what should be the height of the mirror so that a person's image will be seen properly in the mirror. So this was the diagram, and the statement was, in order to see full image of a person standing in front of the mirror, the minimum height of the mirror must be half the height of the person. You can see the mirror MN. AB is the height of the person standing in front of the mirror, and the same image is made of the person A1, B1. Okay, but the mirror is half the height of the person. Now we studied this statement with the help of a diagram. Okay, then we studied terms related to spherical mirrors. Now the first term is radius of curvature. The radius of the sphere of which the mirror is a part is called the radius of the curvature of the mirror. Now the length CP and CA in the given diagram is the radius of curvature of the mirror. Identify CP and CA and just correlate this diagram with the circle. Principal axis, the straight line passing through the pole and the center of curvature of the mirror is called the principal axis. So the diameter of the spherical mirror will be the principal axis because it passes through the center of curvature and pole of the mirror. Now what is principal focus? Incident rays which are parallel to the principal axis of a concave mirror after reflection from the mirror meet at a particular point in front of the mirror on the principal axis. This point F is called principal focus of the concave mirror. You can see capital letter F written between C and P, that is called as the principal focus of the mirror. Okay, so what is focal length? The distance between the pole and the principal focus of the mirror is called the focal length. The distance is half of the radius of the curvature of the mirror. Focal length is half of the radius of curvature of the mirror. So if CP is the radius of curvature, the half of CP, that is CF, is its focal length. Then we studied how to draw this curve diagrams so that we will be able to get all the rules very properly in our diagram. Okay, so if we place our measuring scale, if we place 0 at C, we are going to plot F at 3 centimeter, and then we are going to plot point P at 6 centimeter. Students, do remember that the distance between CF and FP should be same, that is 3 centimeter, 3 centimeter. If I place my scale 0 at C and if I place F at 4, I will place P at 8. Okay, please follow these measurements so that you will get all the rules properly described in your diagram. The ray diagrams will come scientifically according to the rules which are given in the textbook. Then take your compass, place your steel point at C and your pencil point at P. Just draw a curve and you can see that this is a concave mirror. For convex mirror, just the points will change. Instead of P, C will come, and at C, P point will come, and you will draw the curve at P. Do remember this trick so that you will get all the scientific rules very properly in your diagrams. The first interesting rule, that is a ray of light which is parallel to the principal axis after reflection passes through the focus. Okay, you can see the incident ray arrow which coming towards the curved surface of the mirror, that is parallel to the principal axis. So when the incident ray is parallel to the principal axis, what happens after reflection? The reflected ray passes through focus, that is F. Ray of light passing through the center of the curvature is reflected back along the same path. Okay. Now you can see the incident ray and the reflected ray are traveling in the same path. They are shown on the same ray. Okay, when they pass through the center of curvature, that is C. The third rule is ray of the light passing through the focus after reflection becomes parallel to the principal axis. Now rule 1 and rule 3 are vice versa of each other. If you study very properly, you will come to understand that when the incident ray passes through the focus, the reflected ray is parallel to the principal axis. And when the incident ray is parallel to the principal axis, the reflected ray passes through the focus. They are just contradiction of each other. So if you remember rule 1, you can easily remember rule 3. Now these are the 3 very important rules on which we are going to discuss the further diagrams for the images obtained in the concave mirror. So this is the case 1. In every diagram, C, F, P are the important terms of the spherical mirrors, which should be written very properly and which should be plotted very properly. Okay, after that, while studying these diagrams, first try to find out the object, where the object is placed. Is it beyond the center of curvature, between center of curvature and focal length? Okay, just find the position of the object. After finding the position of the object, try to see the incident rays passing through it, and then try to find out the reflected rays. And then we will conclude with the formation of the image, how it is formed. Is it real, is it inverted, or is it virtual? Same as size. Okay, so these are the properties of the images formed. So first we will see where the object is placed. Here the object is AB, arrow headed upwards, which is placed beyond the center of curvature. You can see that the incident ray passing through the point A to the mirror. Okay, the arrow is from A to the mirror. You can see that the incident ray, okay, which is parallel to the principal axis. So the reflected ray will pass through the focus. The second incident ray passes through the center of curvature. So the reflected ray passes through the same path. So you are getting both inward and outward arrow of the incident ray and the reflected ray on the same line. Then at the point of intersection of these two reflected rays, you can see that the image is formed, which is A dash B dash, which is inverted. And the image is formed between center of curvature and the principal focus. In case 2, you can see the object is placed at C, that is center of curvature. Again, the incident ray is parallel to the principal axis. It passes through F. Then the second incident ray passes through the F. So it is parallel to the principal axis. At the point of intersection of these two reflected rays, you can plot the point and see that the image is inverted. In case 3, object is between C and F, that is center of curvature and focal length. You can see the person standing between C and F. Again, follow the 3 rules. See that the incident ray, which is parallel to the principal axis, so the reflected ray passes through the focus. And the second rule, when the incident ray passes through the center of curvature, the reflected ray passes through the same path. You can see that the image form is real and inverted, magnified, and which is beyond center of curvature. As the head of the person is in downward direction, the image is inverted. You can see that the height of the person is increased, so it is magnified. And as the lines are not produced or they are not extended, and then the image is not formed, so the image is real. In case 4, object is at F. The person is standing at F. You can see that the incident ray is parallel to the principal axis. Again, the reflected ray passes through the focus. Then the incident ray passes through the center of curvature and the reflected ray travels along the same path. So you can see that both the reflected rays are parallel to each other. So it is difficult to find the point of intersection in this plane. But if you go on extending, you will find somewhere that they intersect each other. So you will get the image which is real, inverted, highly magnified, and image is at infinity. Case 5, object is between F and P. The person is standing between F and P. Again, go through the 3 rules. When the incident ray parallel to the principal axis, reflected ray passes through the focus. And the second rule, when the incident ray passes through the center of curvature, the reflected ray travels around the same path. Now here you can see that both the reflected rays are extended. The dotted lines are there. Okay, they are extended and then they intersect each other. When this type of images are formed, that when the reflected rays are extended, the image is called virtual image. It is erect as the head of the person is upwards. So it is erect and it is magnified. As you can see, the size of the person standing between F and P is small, whereas when you are getting the image, it is magnified. Now this was the chart to simulate all the positions of the object, position of the images, then the nature of the image formed and size of the image. So position of the object is between pole and focus. Position of the image is behind the mirror. Nature of the image is erect and virtual. Size of the image is magnified. When the position of the object is at focus, position of the image is at infinity because the reflected rays are parallel to each other. Inverted and real is the nature of the image. Size of the image is very large. Position of the object when placed between focus and center of curvature, position of the image formed is beyond the center of curvature. Nature of the image is inverted, real, and size of the image is magnified. When the position of the object is at the center of the curvature, you get the image at the center of curvature, just the image is inverted, real, and size is same as the object. When the object is placed beyond the center of curvature, position of the image is between the center of curvature and focus. Nature of the image is inverted, real, and size of the image is diminished. Position of the object at a very large, infinite distance. So the position of the image is at focus and the nature of the image is inverted, real, size of the image is point size. Now you can just see that the second point where the position of the object is at focus, position of the image is at infinity, and the sixth point which we learned now, okay, they are just interchanged. Position of the object and position of the image, whereas in sixth, the object is placed at very large distance, that is infinite distance, then you get the position of the image at focus. So try to find out such tricks to remember all the diagrams. It is very easy and interesting. If you find it out and if you do practice these diagrams regularly, then this was the very important phenomenon which is convergence and divergence. Concave mirror always undergo convergence, whereas convex mirrors undergo divergence. Now, how to identify the concave and convex mirrors? You can see the small lines which are placed once outside the curve, and in the second diagram they are placed inside the curve. When those small lines are placed on the curve, that is outside the curve, they are concave, and when they are placed on the inner surface, inner curved surface, they are called as convex. When light rays collect at a point after reflection from a spherical mirror, they are said to converge. there. So you can see that the concave mirror conversion happens at the point F. What we want to bring when we want to bring light rays together at a point, a converging light beam is used. Doctors use such a beam to converge light on a tooth, ear, nose, etc. Equipment using solar energy also use converging lights. Okay, so we have studied the example for concave mirror, which was solar furnace, which was using concave mirrors. Now, why solar furnace uses concave mirrors? Because concave mirrors undergo the phenomenon of convergence, which is required in the solar furnaces. ENT specialist, the doctors which deal with ear, nose, they use this type of beam. Whereas in convex mirrors, when light rays starting from a point spread out after reflection by a spherical mirror, light is said to have diverged. When we want light rays to spread out from a source, a divergent beam is used, as for example in street lamps. Try to just remember these examples so that you will remember this phenomenon. Now you can see from F, the rays are passing on and they are getting diverged. That is, they are getting spread in all directions in your surrounding. Here also you can use those basic three rules which we have studied. Now you can see in the first diagram of concave mirror, the incident ray is parallel to the principal axis and the reflected ray passes through the focus. All the three rays above the principal axis and below the principal axis are parallel to the principal axis. Okay. So all the reflected rays, they converge at a point F. In convex mirror, the same thing is happening. They are parallel to the principal axis. But when they are extended, they meet at point F. Now, uses of concave mirrors, barber shop, dental, hospital. If the object is placed between the pole and the focus of the mirror, an erect, virtual, and magnified image is obtained. Torch and headlamps of vehicles, the source of light is kept at the focus of the mirror, thus a parallel beam of light is obtained. Floodlights, the source of light is placed a little beyond the center of curvature of the mirror, and this gives a bright beam of light. Various equipments using solar energy, sun rays reflected by a concave mirror come together in the focal plane. Uses of convex mirrors. Mirrors on the sides of a car are convex mirrors. Big convex mirrors are fitted at the gate and in square. Now we have seen all the images formation with the help of concave mirror. Now we are going to see images formed with the help of convex mirror. Okay, so you can see that the object AB is kept in front of the convex mirror. Now you can see that the positions of the C, F, and P are changed. At the right hand side, C is there, and then F will always come in between C and P, and the pole of the mirror is on the left side. Just C and P are interchanged for convex mirrors. And the shaded region, which is inside the curve. You can see the small lines between the curve MN, which depicts that this is a convex mirror. Object AB is kept in front of the convex mirror, MN. Incident rays, AQ, you can see the blue color ray AQ, which is the incident ray, starting from A and traveling parallel to the axis, and AR going towards the center of the curvature as shown in the figure. Okay, the second incident ray is AR, which is going towards the center of curvature. How these get reflected to form the image A dash B dash can be understood from this diagram. It is clear that the image is smaller than the object behind the mirror and erect. As the reflected rays do not actually cross one another, the image is a virtual image. As the reflected rays do not actually cross each other, we are extending those two reflected rays so that the image formation is takes place, so that this kind of image is called as virtual image. The nature of the image formed by a convex mirror does not depend on the distance of the object from the mirror. These images are always virtual, smaller than the object and situated behind the mirror. So what is the nature of the image formed? It does not depend. The distance of B, P and P, B dash, it is not same. They are different. The distance BP is different and P, B dash is different. That is, the distance of the object and the mirror is different than the image form and the mirror. So usually you will never find that both the distances are same. These images are always virtual. You have to extend the reflected rays and then only you will get the point of intersection for reflected rays and you can plot the imaged form. So these are always virtual. They are smaller. Then just correlate the height of AB and A dash B dash. You can see that AB is larger than A dash B dash. So the image formed is smaller than the object and situated behind the mirror. Yes, it is situated behind the mirror. It is not on the same side of the mirror. This is also a very important concept of convex mirrors. Now, according to the Cartesian sign conventions, these are the Cartesian axes which we use in our maths, which is X and Y axis, which we usually call as coordinate axis. And we have studied the formation of the quadrants and the signs which are formed inside each quadrants. Now here we just have to consider where the object is placed on which side and how the image is formed. Okay, so we will just go through these five important points and try to memorize it. First one is the object is always kept on the left of the mirror. All distances parallel to the principal axis are measured from the pole of the mirror. Now you can see one curve is also placed on this coordinate axis, X and Y axis. So the object will be always placed on left side of the mirror. All distances measured towards the right of the pole are taken to be positive. Yes, right side of x-axis is always positive. So they will always be taken as positive, while those measured towards the left are taken as negative. You can see the arrows headed. Distances on the right are positive. Distances on the left are negative. Distances measured vertically upwards from the principal axis are taken to be positive. You can see a arrow headed upwards and the words written besides it that distances upward are positive. Distances measured vertically downwards from the principal axis are taken to be negative. And the fifth important point is the focal length of the concave mirror is negative, while that of the convex is positive. Focal length, which is half of the radius of curvature, is negative for concave, while it is positive for convex mirror. These are the important sign conventions which helps in solving the problems, the numericals which are given. So draw this diagram, write all the things which are mentioned on the x and y axis so that you will remember this diagram. Now formulas related to images. Mirror formula. We get the correct values of distances by using the Cartesian sign convention. The object distance, which is denoted by the letter small u, is the distance of the object from the pole, while the image distance v is the distance of the image from the pole. The relationship between the object distance, image distance, and the focal length f is called the mirror formula. You can see the mirror formula: 1 upon v plus 1 upon u is equals to 1 upon f. That is, the distance 1 upon v is the distance of the image from the pole. U is distance of the object from the pole, and f is the focal length. Now this formula is valid for all spherical mirrors. Now all spherical mirrors means it is same for concave and convex mirrors, for all position of objects and under all circumstances. This formula will be applied for all the 6 circumstances which we have studied in the table formulated for concave lenses. Okay, and as well as for the one case which we have studied for convex lens. Magnification due to spherical mirrors. The magnification due to a spherical mirror is given by the ratio of the height of the image, which is denoted by the letter h2, to the height of the object h1. This tells us how large the image is as compared to the object. What this magnification formulas give us, it tells us that how large the image is as compared to the object. So magnification is denoted by the letter capital M, which is equals to height of the image divided by height of the object. Now height of the image is denoted by h2 and height of the object is denoted by h1. From this, it can be shown that m equals to minus v upon u. As the object is always kept above the principal axis, the height is always taken to be positive for virtual images. The height is positive, while for the real images, it is negative. As the object is kept on the left of the mirror, the distance u is always negative. So according to the sign conventions, they have taken this. And as per the sign conventions, u will always have negative sign. So the whole fraction is having minus sign. Therefore, we get the formula m equals to minus v upon u. Now this is a solved example. Rajashri wants to get an inverted image of height 5 cm of an object kept at a distance of 30 cm from a concave mirror. The focal length of the mirror is 10 cm. At what distance from the mirror should she place the screen? What will be the type of the image and what is the height of the object? Go through the given word problem twice, thrice, so that you will able to find out the values of U, V, H1, H2 and the focal length. As we have studied, only two formulas are there in this whole chapter. First one is the mirror formula. Second one is the magnification formula. You just have to remember these two formulas to solve all the numerical problems related to this chapter. And it is very easy. Now what Rajeshri wants, she wants to get an inverted image of height 5 centimeter of an object. So 5 will be the height of the image. Okay, as the image is of the concave mirror, the height will be negative. At the distance of 30 centimeter from the concave lens. So 30 centimeter small u, the distance of the object and the mirror is 30 centimeter. Now as again it is of concave length, it is minus 30 centimeter. Then in the second statement, the focal length of the mirror is 10 centimeter. Focal length is f. F equals to 10 minus 10 centimeter as it is of a concave length, concave mirror. Okay, so what is the distance from the mirror should she place the screen? So we have to find V and what will be the type of the image and what is the height of the object. So height of the object is h1. The two things we have to find, image distance V and height of the object h1. Solve this problem stepwise. Write all the given things. Focal length equals to f equals to minus 10 centimeter. Object distance equals to u, which is equal to minus 30 centimeter. Height of the image equals to h2, which is equal to minus 5 centimeter. Image distance v, we have to find out. So question mark is placed in front of it. Height of the object, which is equal to h1, we have to find it. So question mark is placed in front of it. So first we are going to use according to the mirror formula. We are having u, f. Okay, we have to find out v. First write down the formula 1 upon v plus 1 upon u equals to 1 upon f. Place all the known things on one side, that is on right side, and whatever we have to find, we have to place it on left side. So what they have done, they have just transformed 1 upon u from left side to the right side. While getting transferred, the signs get changed. So 1 upon f minus 1 upon u. Just place the value of f and u, which is minus 10 and minus 30 respectively. Then what we have to do, we have to make the denominator same. So multiply 10 by 3, you will get 30. As you multiply 3 to the denominator, you have to multiply 3 to the numerator also. Therefore, you can see next step, they have written minus 3 plus 1 upon 30. Here you can multiply by minus 3 so that minus minus becomes plus. And both the denominators have become positive. Minus plus minus, sign of greater number. So minus 3 plus 1 gives the answer minus 2. Minus 2 upon 30. 1 upon v equals to 1 upon minus 15 centimeter. Just take the reciprocal. V equals to minus 15. But as we never take distances in negative, so while writing the answer, Rajeshri has to place the screen 15 centimeter to the left of the mirror. Now, according to sign conventions, what is the left side? Left side is positive. So they have written plus 15 centimeter. Now we have to use the formula for magnification. M equals to H2 upon H1, which is equals to minus V upon U. H1 equals to minus UH2 upon V. We have to find H1. So they have transferred H2 on the other side, which gets multiplied to the numerator. H1 equals to minus, just place the value of U, which is minus 30. H2 is minus 5 and V is minus 15. You can reduce, simplify these numbers in the numerator and denominator as multiplication is there, 30 into minus 5. Okay, so after simplification, H1 equals to minus 2 into minus 5. H1 equals to 10 centimeter. The height of the object is 10 centimeter, thus the image will be real and diminished. Writing the type of the image is also very important in these numericals. It carries mark. Now this one is then example from your exercise. A 10 centimeter long stick is kept in front of a concave mirror having focal length of 10 centimeter in such a way that the end of the stick closest to the pole is at the distance of 20 centimeter. What will be the length of the image? So focal length is given F 10 centimeter, object size H1 is 10 centimeter, object distance small u is 20 centimeter. What we have to find? Length of the image, that is H2. We are going to use two formulas. First one is the mirror formula and second one is the magnification formula. So first, while substituting in mirror formula, minus 1 upon 20 plus 1 upon V equals to minus 1 upon 10. Again, make transfer minus 1 upon 20 on other side, which becomes positive 1 upon 20. Make the denominator same and take reciprocal of it. We get V is equals to minus 20 centimeter. Place this value of V in magnification formula. H2 upon H1 equals to minus V upon U. We have to find H2. Just place all the values and you can transfer the denominator 10 on that side, which will come in the numerator. Minus sign is already there on that side. So H2 equals to minus 10 centimeter. The height or length of the image is 10 centimeter. So you can see that the object height, which is H1, was also 10 centimeter and the height of the image is also 10 centimeter. You can see the diagram. The object is placed at the center of curvature and the image is also formed at the center of curvature. We will see the next problem. A convex mirror of focal length of 18 centimeter. The length of an object kept in front of the mirror is half the height of the object. What is the distance of the object from the mirror? Again, try to write down what all the given things. Given focal length f equals to 18 centimeter. Image size h2 equals to half of the object size h1. Now write this in the form of equation, that is h2 equals to half of h1. Now what we have to find? Object distance u. Again, we have to use both the formulas, the mirror formula and the magnification formula. 1 upon V plus 1 upon U equals to 1 upon F. And the magnification formula is H2 upon H1 equals to minus V upon U. So it is given that H2 is equals to half of H1. So H2 upon H1 equals to 1 upon 2. So in place of H2 and H1, I have just substituted minus V upon U. So minus V upon U is equals to 1 upon 2. V is equals to minus U upon 2. Now use the mirror formula 1 upon V plus 1 upon U equals to 1 upon F and just place the value of V. Now as the V is in the denominator, we have to reciprocal it and we have to place the value of V. That is minus 2 upon U plus 1 upon U equals to 1 upon F. You can see that the denominators are same. That is U is there in both of the denominators. So you can add the numerators. So minus 2 plus 1 becomes minus 1 upon U, which is equals to minus 1 upon 18. So U equals to 18 centimeter. The distance of the object is 18 centimeter. That is, it is kept on focus. This chapter is quite easy if you go through the diagram again and again. Just don't try to learn it or by heart it, but through practice, try to remember it and memorize it so that this concept will remain in your mind and in your acknowledgement for many days. So here we have finished with our today's session of revision of reflection of light.